Something a little bit different for you on the channel today. We're going to be having a chat about why the GCSEs that you're currently studying for are nowhere near as important as your school would make you believe. Now, before we get into that, a couple of disclaimers. I am well aware that a significant number of the audience of this channel aren't currently of the right age to be doing GCSEs. You might be younger, you might be older. I'm also aware that there's a lot of people who aren't in the UK. You might not know what a GCSE is. So just a little bit of explanation as to the thinking behind this video. Firstly, I do think it is appropriate for any of you to watch. I don't think you have to be going through GCSEs at the moment. It might bring back some memories from when you went through your GCSE or high school exams or whatever it might be called where you're from. They're basically the exams that you do in the UK, age 16. And since I did mine 20 years ago this year, 20 years ago this year, that's ridiculous. And the gap between that and Lucy doing hers this year, and obviously I've worked for quite a long time as a teacher in that gap as well, the whole attitude towards GCSEs has changed completely. And I wanted to put this video out there to get as many people as possible to see it, get as many of you who are of the age where you're doing your GCSEs to share this around your school as much as you possibly can, because I want to tell you, as a 35-year-old who has been a teacher, who has had a job in the real world and is now doing this internet thing, that seriously, it is not the be-all and end-all. GCSEs are not the biggest, most important thing in your life, no matter what your school will tell you. They're just not. This is actually going to be the first part of a new semi-regular series on the channel. It links in to my book that I wrote a couple of years ago. It's called The Lazy Student's Revision Guide. And as we get closer and closer towards exam season, maybe once a week, maybe once every 10 days or so, there's going to be a video on the channel tied into some of the content in this book. By the time we get to exams, I'll have pretty much talked you through the entire book. So don't feel that you have to go and buy this. I'm going to talk to you about it all regardless. But if you do want to buy it, the link is down in the description. You can buy it on Amazon anywhere in the world. And that is the last time in this video I'll try and sell you anything. I promise. It's sponsored by my own book. But yeah, this GCSEs thing. The background to why schools make such a big deal of it is it all comes down to their league tables. Having worked on the inside, I know just how competitive the whole league table thing is. Between schools, across cities, between counties, even between departments within schools. It's all about, well, it was all about who got the best 5 A star to C grade percentage. And now it's moved on to this new thing called Progress 8, where it's how far above your expectation when you join the school in year 7. So your target for your 8 GCSEs, how have you performed against those targets? So have you overperformed or underperformed? And each school will get a rating based on how much value they add to a student's education. But the key thing for both of those measures, the old measure and the new measure, is they're measuring schools, they're measuring teachers, they're measuring head teachers, they're measuring county councils. They're not measuring you as students. And I think I was going to say sometimes, I actually think a lot of the time, teachers, schools, head teachers lose sight of the fact that what's best for their league tables and best for their performance in their academy chain or their funding that might be attached to performance, or for a teacher, what's best for them to hit their performance review targets so they can get their pay rise next year. That isn't necessarily what's best for the student, because no matter what, if you're sat there age 15 or 16 now, you're in year 11, you've got your GCSEs coming up, even if you fail every single one of them, it really isn't the end of the world. Everything can be redone. To use some examples from real life, Anna didn't really get much in the way of GCSEs. When she was at school, she was really horrifically bullied when she was in year 10 and 11. It's a story I'm sure she'll tell at some point. We've touched on it briefly on the vlog in the past, but she was massively, massively bullied when she was at school. So she left with very little in the way of qualifications, and the ones that she did get were way below what she should have got. She's not stupid, she's smart, as shown by the fact that since then she's spent the last 5 or 6 years working her backside off to get to the point where she's now doing the degree she wanted to do, despite not getting anything in the way of GCSEs and having a gap to have a kid in between all that as well. She didn't even go straight from school to college, redo stuff and then rush off to university. She had a gap of, I don't know, it must have been 7-8 years between finishing school and then deciding, actually, you know what? I think I'm now ready to go and get my GCSE equivalent, my level 3, my A-level equivalent, and I'm ready to go on and get the degree. I now know what I want to do. So she went back and did it. It's taken her a little while, but she got there and she's now perfectly happy doing what she wants to do. I'm slightly different. I did quite well in my GCSEs. I did quite well in my A-levels, but I didn't go to university until I was 27. So looking at both ends of the spectrum, Anna didn't do very well at school at all, went to university in her late 20s. For the first time, she is in her 30s now. She's not that much younger than me, but she did a couple of years ago and had to drop out when Andy was off school. You know the story if you've been around for a while. I did really well in my GCSEs and my A-levels, and I also didn't go to university until my late 20s. The GCSE results we got, the A-level results we got, made absolutely zero difference to what we did next. We both went to university at roughly the same age. And without digging into details of people who might not want me to share the ins and outs of their background on the vlog without their permission, I know loads of people. I went to university with people older than me and younger than me. I've worked in jobs with people who had degrees and people who didn't even finish secondary school and they're working in the same job. I've known people who've gone on and done degrees without finishing school. I've known people who've dropped out of school and got really good jobs. I know people who've done brilliantly at everything and got top grades in their GCSEs, their A-levels, their university, and then not been able to get the job that they want and end up really struggling. They're just a snapshot, a measure of where you are at a particular moment in your life. No doors are being closed this summer, regardless of how you do in your GCSEs. And that's really important to understand because I see so many students under such intense pressure that I never had when I was at school. I talked about this on one of my streams the other night. I don't actually remember when I was in year 11, 20 years ago. I imagine there must have been target grades that we were given, but I couldn't tell you what any of them were. And I don't ever remember being told what they were. There was no push from the school to get certain grades in a certain way. It was just a case of do the best you can, have a think about what you want to do next, see what qualifications you need to be able to do that and try and get them. That was the only place that targets came from. And those bars are generally a lot lower than what targets set for students are. I was talking to Lucy about it today. The entry requirements to get into the sixth form of her school are that she gets the equivalent of 5 GCSEs at a grade C or above. It's the new numbered system, though, that a lot of you will be working on if you're doing your GCSEs at the moment. But the school, because of where the targets have been set and the number of GCSEs she's got, are piling on this intense pressure that in all 8 of her subjects, she needs to get A's and B's. But when you actually look at it from an objective standpoint, and I know as a parent it's weird to look at it from this angle, so by all means show this to your parents. I'm a parent of a 16-year-old. I used to be a teacher. I do know what I'm talking about. A lot of parents will look at those target grades and back up the pressure from the school that, yeah, you need to be getting these 8 B's or else you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. Anything less than these targets is failure, but it's just not, because as long as you can get onto the course you want to do next, or the apprenticeship that you want to do, or the A-levels that you want to do, how have you failed? What has it actually cost you? Getting a couple of C's instead of a couple of B's, for example, but you still got onto the same course at the same place. What has it cost you from not getting those grades? It's cost you absolutely nothing. Likewise with the A-levels, with the college course, if you don't get top grades, but you still get into the university that you want to get into, or you still get the job that you wanted to do, it didn't matter what grades you got. And I sat there the other night, as I was planning out this video, trying to figure out if there had ever been a time in my life when I'd been asked to show my GCSE results. Bearing in mind, I've had 3 careers at this point. I've done a video before on the channel about how my working life has been split into chunks of 7 years. I had the 7 years where I was a financial advisor, mortgage advisor, money banking type man. That was pre-university. But I never had to show any qualifications for that. All I had to do, I turned up working in a bank one day, did some financial advice qualifications through the bank, and that was enough to get me every job that I had in that industry. I never had to show my GCSEs or my A-levels at all. I then went to university and didn't have to show my GCSE results. I then became a teacher, and I never had to show my GCSE results. They wanted to know my A-level results. They never checked the GCSE results. Even the whole maths and English thing, that, oh, you have to have your grade C in maths and English. Well, not to become a teacher, you don't. You just have to pass a basic functional maths and English test as part of your teacher training. They didn't check my GCSEs. So to become a teacher, I never had to show my GCSEs. And obviously, to do what I do now, to write books, to make YouTube videos, to record podcasts, I don't need any qualifications at all. I'm working for myself. If you want to work for yourself, you really don't need any qualifications at all. So the whole GCSEs, the be-all and end-all thing, is just nonsense. Now, I'm not saying this is Kev's permission to go and not bother turning up, not bother trying. Obviously, if you have a career in mind, if you have a course in mind that you want to do, you'll know what targets you need to be aiming for you. If you don't get them, don't worry, you can redo next year, you can redo in 5 years. Whatever you want to do now, you'll probably change your mind in 3 years anyway. I change my mind every 7 years about what I want to do as a career. Don't go in there thinking, I'm not going to try. Just do your best, but do it for you. Don't do it for your parents. Don't do it for your school. Do it so that you can do the best for you, and then work out what you want to do with it afterwards. And if the best for you is that you fail a couple of your GCSEs and you don't get as good grades as your friends and some of the others, then that's fine. That's the best for you. I'm sure the comments will fill up with examples of people around my age, younger than me, older than me, and their stories. So this is what happened when we did this in the Twitch stream. The stories starting flooding in of, this is what I did at school, this is what I do now, and there just isn't any correlation. There's no way, unless you want to be a doctor, and I think that's the only career we narrowed it down to. Unless you want to be a doctor, and then there's that very specific route through what qualifications you need and when. But realistically, if you want to be a doctor, you're probably not watching this video about why GCSEs aren't important, because in your world they absolutely are. They're the be all and end all because you want to be a doctor. So unless you want to be a doctor, then your GCSE results this summer won't be representative at all of how successful you are in the rest of your life. It all comes down to how hard you're willing to work. How hard are you willing to work now? How hard are you willing to work in the future? Do you know what you want to do? Are you willing to put the graft in to go and get it? And that's all it comes down to. Do well in your GCSEs for you. Do not feel any pressure to do it for parents, for school, for me, for Big Brother, for your friends. Forget all that. Do it for you. Do the best that you can. And then on results day, when you open up your results, you'll feel proud of whatever you get, because whatever you get is what you deserve to get. As long as you put 100% effort in, as long as you try, then you'll get what you deserve, and you should be proud of it, whatever it is. And then you can deal with what comes next, whether that's redoing some stuff or going off to college, going off to sixth form, going and getting an apprenticeship. Do whatever you want to do. Don't do what your school is pushing you into doing. That is why your GCSEs are nowhere near as important as your school are making out. I hope that helps to ease some of the pressure. By all means, use the comments of this video as a way to chat about any concerns that you might have. I know there's a lot of you who are at that age where you're just coming into doing your GCSEs now. Bounce your concerns, bounce your ideas off of each other. I'll get involved in the conversation, try and help out where I can, or at least point you in the right direction of where you can get the help that you might need. But for goodness sake, don't make yourself ill. Don't stress yourself out. You shouldn't be having sleepless nights. You shouldn't be afraid to go into school. Just, it's fine. You can mess up as many times as you want in life, as long as you've got the resilience to get up and try again. And that's the part the school don't tell you. You want to do well in life, but you don't have to do that right now, and you don't have to do it according to their rules and their criteria. Do the best for you, be proud of what you get, and work hard. That's all you need. So, we are going to end things out. I know this has been a little bit ranty. I hope that's okay. I would appreciate your feedback on this style of video. I do want to do more stuff like this on the channel. It was one of the main reasons behind building the studio, setting up the set behind me, so that I can do these bits where I just sit here and talk to camera about things that I think I can help you out with. Like I said, I've written a book about this stuff. I used to do this as a job. I've been through it all myself. I feel like I have some experiences that I can share and help you out with. So if you have enjoyed that, if you've got some kind of benefit from it, please consider leaving a nice thumbs up on there for me. Share it out amongst your friends. Let's spread this message far and wide. I want to single-handedly eliminate year 11 stress this summer because it's gone too far. I was seeing it as a teacher and I'm seeing it first hand through Lucy, or second hand, I guess, through Lucy at the moment. It's gone too far. Everyone just needs to put it into context. It's not the most important thing in your life. It's not the most important thing right now. It's just a thing. That's all it is. It's a thing, and it will go one way or the other, and whatever happens, you'll be fine. You'll deal with it. So please don't get stressed out. And I'll put some links down to some places and websites that can help you out if you are feeling under a crushing amount of pressure that you just don't feel like there's any way out of. There'll be some links down there to help you out as well. I hope you have got something out of that video. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more stuff like this over the coming weeks and months, plus all the usual daily vlogs and stuff that appear on this channel as well. And thank you very much for watching.